Alrighty. Good morning, everyone. Today we got a great episode of the podcast. We're going to be talking with Seth Dahlen. If you thought it was Dahlen, you're not alone. Seth Dahlen is the owner of LA Cheesecake Bakery and also owner of Alpha Adventures and a state operator for Gelleo. So we'll be talking about that in just a second. So sit back. Alrighty, Seth. So I am glad to have you on to talk about cheesecake and, of course, the other companies you have with the sporting events and different things you do there. We'll talk about that. So go ahead and just kind of tell us a little bit about you, and if you're not from around here, where are you from, and what got you here?
Sure, absolutely. So I am Seth Dahlen. I own and operate LA Cheesecake Bakery and Alpha Adventure Sports, and I'm also the state operator for Gelleo. But I am from the thriving metropolis of Pecan Island. Huge, really small town. If you've heard of it or you know it, you typically love it. If you've never heard of it, it's this little blip on the map. If you hit the Gulf, you just missed it. It's that far south. But we have been operating the cheesecakes for about 7 years now, and it was just a home-based business until recently. And Alpha, which is a mobile jelly ball experience is what we call it. We'll go and set up a little jelly ball arena for like kids' birthday parties and things of that nature at your actual home or whatever location you'd like. And kind of let you, and really honestly, I say it's for the kids. The adults have more fun probably than the kids. But we do that as well.
Awesome. All right. So Pecan Island, huh?
Yeah.
Way out there.
The metropolis.
Yeah. And why is it called Pecan Island? I should know this, but...
So, obvious, the pecan trees are there for sure, but it is actually an island. You have to, before the bridges were built, you'd have to get to it either by boat or by horse once upon a time.
All right, cool. So, I don't know if you said this, but what got you to the Lafayette area?
Oh, the hurricanes.
Oh.
I got tired of hearing... mandatory evacuation for Highway 14 and below and voluntary evacuation for 92 and below, which is the Maurice area. But the Lafayette area it's just a good area. Happy to be anything above 92 to get rid of and not to get rid of the hurricanes, but to get rid of the headaches that accompany them.
Yeah.
It was always a headache. Every storm that came through, there was always some sort of like a real issue that took place. So anything above 92 was happy with me, and Lafayette was the place to go. It's a big enough area to where you can kind of find new places and get lost, and it's not quite as little as Pecan Island.
Yeah, that's good. So I don't have the exact same kind of story you do because I was further up north of I-10 as they call it. But came here to Lafayette from a small little area where there was nothing, and I found this place just to be the right size. Like, I've been to other bigger cities. I love them, but I like to visit those bigger cities and come back.
Definitely.
And then this feels just right. Like, it's like you said, it's just big enough to get lost in certain little areas of the city, and to feel like you're in a different area.
Yeah.
But also small enough where everybody knows your business.
Yeah, and they do, and they definitely do. People are starting to kind of recognize me around town more for the cheesecakes, but we actually had our sixth child, fourth son, number 6 in January, and
God bless you, man.
Yeah, I'll take that. Thank you. I'll take anything I can get right now. But we were in the elevator on the way up to the hospital. And there was a sweet couple in there. They were going in for twins. They were getting induced, and the lady kind of stopped. Are you that cheesecake guy? I was like, yeah,
that's cheesecake guy.
The cheesecake guy. Yeah, I'm that guy.
The cheese man.
Yep.
All right.
Corny and cheesy.
Yeah. Hey, cheesecake is the farthest from corny. It is amazing. Speaking of the almighty cheesecake. What led you to opening LA Cheesecake Bakery? I think you mentioned before that it was a home-based business. What were you doing before that, and what led up to creating the Cheesecake Bakery?
So, I fell in love with cheesecake. First time I tried it, my mom just kind of mentioned to me, "Hey, you should try this." We were at Riverfront in Abbeville. I mean, I had to have been maybe 10, 11. And she said, "Hey, you should get the cheesecake." And I'm like, "The what?" I was like, "No." I'm thinking like, American slices,
Oh,
just
yeah,
nothing.
like
No,
Kraft cheese? No, not good.
no, negative. And she talked me into it. I got it, and it was so good. I licked the plate. I was like, "This is delicious." So fell in love with it at an early age. And then my grandmother, in passing, mentioned that she trained my dad and his two siblings how to cook. And that was just in case their spouses didn't know how, whatever. And this is Louisiana, honestly, that everybody pretty well knows how to cook. It's the grandmas that know pretty well. So if you can get in close and let them train you, but nonetheless, but to this day, like all sides of my family, very, very good cooks. But it just stuck with me. I must have been about 14, maybe 15 when they had mentioned that. And it just stuck. She just said it in passing once. And I was like, man, if you're gonna learn something, you might as well learn how to cook. I mean, you're gonna obviously need to eat at some point, in the day. So learn to cook. And I was always competitive. So like if I wanted to cook or do anything in general, I wanted to be good at it. So I got into a few restaurants when I was younger in my high school years. And I worked at Black's in Abbeville, which has got a pretty good name. I'm not actually sure if they're even open now, but they definitely at least have a legacy to the name with Black's in Abbeville. But it just so happened that a sweet lady by the name of Eve started working there at the same time that I did. She was the dessert chef at Imanelli's on Johnston Street here, which is also a very nice restaurant. She lived in Abbeville at the time, and I guess she just got tired of making the commute and started working locally in Abbeville at Black's. And out of the blue one day, "Hey, Seth, you want to make a cheesecake? We're going to start putting cheesecake on the menu."
How old was she? Do you know roughly?
Early 30s. No,
okay, so she wasn't
34.
a grandmother.
No, she wasn't. But dude, if you ever, Eve, she's one of the best cooks I know. Genuinely speaking, and I've shaken hands with a few chefs before, like actual.
And this
chefs.
is at Black's?
This was at Black. She's actually back at Imanelli's again.
Okay,
so
nice.
props to Imanelli's there because they picked up someone good. But she's a beautiful person, amazing woman. But she just kind of took me under her wing. And the very first cheesecake we ever made is my favorite to this day, white chocolate blueberry. And that's what we had on the menu over there. We did a white chocolate blueberry and just a plain cheesecake. And that's kind of what got me going. My philosophy on life is once you learn it, you have it for life. No one can take that from you. So I just learned how to make cheesecake, and I could eat this all day. So super, super excited about that. So I would go and make it for events, whatever that may be, holidays, birthdays, whatever it was. And it was over the course of years. It was the same two compliments over and over and over again, and I'm honored by it. This is the best cheesecake I've ever eaten in my life, and I don't even like cheesecake, and this is really good. There's the same two compliments everywhere I brought it, every single.
So everybody says that, those that don't like cheesecake say this is the best.
100%, yeah. Like, and I'll have people come to the store every so often. It's like, "No, I don't eat cheesecake." I was like, no, you're gonna try this one. Like, I'm not even gonna charge you. Take whatever one you want. I would suggest this one and that one. Take it, and they're like, "It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's pretty good."
I think a lot of people, very similar to bread pudding. When you hear the name, it for some people it has a triggering kind of connotation. Like some people just don't like cheese, like they don't want to eat a cheese block, a bite of cheese. But cheesecake, it does not taste like a cheese block.
The two words don't mix.
It doesn't make sense. And bread pudding, I don't know who in the world called it bread pudding, and I understand the name now, but it's. first of all, if it's a pudding texture, it's not good. It's not good bread pudding for me. I
Right.
like a firmer thing.
Sure.
So it feels more just like a cinnamon roll, like a
Right.
sturdy cinnamon roll, but
Yeah.
cut in like blocks. Like, and I would reject a bread pudding from my mom when she made it when growing up all the time until I became an adult. And whenever I lived in Lafayette, I moved to Lafayette, and I tried bread pudding for the first time at Bon Ton Grill.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was like, this is magical. What is going on? So I'm assuming that it's a very similar situation that happens with cheesecake.
Likely.
In that kind of discovery.
Likely. And a lot of people, there's one of the bigger objections is I just don't like cream cheese. And that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
But it's still different.
It is. And mine is particularly, and I understand now, since like, I guess I've grown, like I still get cheesecake at restaurants. I do not discriminate. I love cheesecake wherever I go. So, but like being someone who can do this professionally, I understand why people don't like a lot of other ones. They just kind of, it's almost just kind of like off of a truck or out of a box type. And it's different. These are definitely homemade. I make every single batter that goes through the bakery, and if I don't, my wife may make a couple every so often, but like I make every single one from scratch almost pretty much daily. So it's a cool thing when you pour your heart into something like that and people genuinely appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's really, it's rewarding, and I love hearing it. It never gets old, ever.
Awesome. Well, look, man, we got a couple of comments coming through, and it's around that 10-minute mark where I want to get my sponsors read. So those that are listening, you have questions. I see them on the comment section right now. I'm going to read off my sponsors. It's going to be about maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and then we will get to those comments. All right, so our first sponsor is the Music Academy of Acadiana. They allow you to unleash your musical potential with Acadiana's top choice school. They have classes in piano, guitar, voice, drums, violin. Like if you want to learn audio production, they have all that. Their experienced instructors cater to students of all ages and musical styles. Graduates have even excelled in college and major music competitions and have even made it on popular TV shows like American Idol and The Voice. They're founded by UL Lafayette Music School graduate Tim Benson. They've won national recognition and are consistently voted as a top music school since 2016. Their goal is to make music lessons fun, educational, and to help foster the next generation of musicians and creative thinkers, because music fosters creativity. And if you don't believe me, just turn on some music and see how creative you get, whether that is cleaning your house or doing homework or just being a better driver. Sometimes you can get creative when you drive to music. But ultimately, they're a great company. They're local, and you can check them out at their website, musicacademyacadiana.com, and also on their Facebook page, and they have Instagram, all those great places too. And then we have Chase Group Construction. Chase Group takes the lead and becomes your one point of contact for the entire design build process. They have a diverse portfolio of projects that range from medical centers to popular restaurants like Fat Pat's in Broussard and Bro Bridge to multi-unit shopping center developments. You can check out their website, chasegroupconstruction.com. And as always, we really appreciate our sponsors. We're actually bringing on a new sponsor that'll be coming on in just a few maybe days, maybe a week from now. So I was hoping to have them on this episode, but we haven't gotten there yet. So, but anyway, thank you to our sponsors. Alrighty. So the comments that we have, the first one came from a Gelleo.We. Miko. Oh my gosh, this is the owner of the Miko's Donuts.
I will happily talk about them for
I
a little
swear
bit.
that last name, I can't. I'm sorry, Julie. I cannot get your last name. I'll just say Miko. That's probably why you have it shortened as a business. But she says, much respect for Seth and his family. Great people, good cheesecakes, great business owners. All right. Thank you, Julie. And then we also have Maria. Again, oh my gosh, I know the last name that it's, I'm not even going to try, but it's Hispanic or Spanish. I would try, but I'm going to mess it up. Anyway, Maria says, any sugar-free keto options, amazing options at the store. Yeah, so any keto, sugar-free or keto options. I'll let you handle that.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. We keep 4 flavors of bites in the keto variety on hand daily, and then we rotate those flavors every week. I want to say we have 20 plus keto flavors. We can make not all, but the bulk of our regular flavors, at least in sugar-free for sure. But as far as like dietary options and stuff like that, like we have them on hand. You can kind of walk in. I even have a protein cheesecake now that I'm really proud of, for people quite like Julie that may be in the gym, or different people that are, kind of labeled as gym rats that need to find protein. But it's, I have options for just about any diet.
All right, so I just put up your website on the screen, so lacheesecakebakery.com. If you're wanting to look at the menu, I implore you to go to their website and look at the menu. They have photos of some of the cheesecakes on there as well. Just fair warning, you will start salivating. Whether you're a keto person, sugar-free, just regular cheesecake, your mouth will start watering. Mine is watering already because Yes, sorry. I need to stop looking at it, but it's serious business here. But yeah, like just go to their website. You can find out a lot. So, okay, Seth. So, do you know the origins of cheesecake and how cheesecake came to be? Like, I get the premise of like a bread pudding, like we were talking about earlier, because it's bread, and typically you're supposed to make it out of like day old or stale bread. Mm-hmm. And essentially it's like, I don't want to say it's the poor person's dessert, but I'm imagining that that's how it started.
Sure.
You had leftover bread. Nobody wants to eat stale bread. So what do is you just make a custard and you dump it over bread and you cook it. So how did cheesecake come about? Like, who thought about that?
Honestly, and I don't have an answer for that, but to be frank, the person who did it likely was demented, because cheesecake is so difficult to work with. It's God. Like, and I'll get asked that, like different people will come in like, man, how do you do this? Or how do you keep it from cracking? I get that all the time. My cheesecake flopped, like it rose like a souffle and fell. It tasted good, but like, it didn't work out. And honestly, like a lot of times you'll see in bakeries that they won't have cheesecake a lot of times, and it's hard, it's finicky. So like whoever came up with the idea, I don't know who it was, deranged.
Well,
crazy.
So I pulled up the almighty Google, and I asked, where did cheesecake come from? And ancient Greece is where cheesecake came from. I don't know the full history yet. There's links, basically. Let me see if I can. It's over 4,000 years ago, in the 5th century BC, that ancient Greeks on the island of Samos created the earliest known cheesecake.
Very cool.
Yeah, so there is a lengthy article about it. I say lengthy. It's long enough for cheesecake that kind of talks about the history, and I wish I had time to kind of read all this. So I don't want to bore people, but it's a lot of information. So yeah, ancient Greece, that's interesting. So it doesn't, at least for right now, it doesn't sound like it's a poor person's food.
I wouldn't imagine it to be.
Yeah, because with all the ingredients. Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, no, the ingredients to make one, I guarantee you if it's not 3 times the cost of like cupcakes, cookies, things of that nature, it's 4 times. It's god awful.
Yeah.
It's cream cheese, heavy cream, butter, eggs, sugar, vanilla. And then you go from there if you want like different flavors, like a Reese or things of that nature.
So I was reading a little bit of that article, and what captured my attention, and this is odd to think about today because of how we think about health. But apparently, back then, cheesecake was considered a great source of energy. And there is evidence showing it was served to athletes during the first Olympic Games in 776 BC. And also, cheesecake was a great wedding dessert.
Definitely.
So a source of energy. So what's crazy is you're as a premise to your company, you're serving energy food, and then you have protein-packed versions.
Yeah.
So you're doubling up on your. So if ancient Greece individuals were alive today and they would see your company, they go, "What is he doing?" I don't know if that's how they
talk with their hands. Part
Oh
Cajun.
God, that's probably so offensive on so many levels, but I apologize. But yes. Like, it's so interesting to see.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said your favorite cheesecake was white chocolate blueberry.
Yeah.
I might have overlooked it, but I don't remember if I saw that on the menu.
So I call it the genre. It's the chocolate and berry.
Yep.
You can pick your chocolate that you'd like incorporated into the batter, and then pick your berry. We'll make a reduction out of it, and then inject that reduction into the cake before it cooks.
Okay. Got it. I was just looking at the menu and I was trying to find it.
Yeah. Under that particular genre, I want to say that probably the favorites used to be dark chocolate raspberry. That was a really popular one, and it just fizzled. It went nowhere. I get 0 orders for that now for some strange reason. Milk chocolate strawberry is another good one. White chocolate raspberry has a really good pop to it. Raspberry does that, but under that particular.
Yeah, I like white chocolate raspberry for sure. Okay, so kind of going back to the genesis of the company, it started out home baker. Did you foresee this being a business that would be as big as it has become and probably will become bigger at some point? But I know you're just taking it one step at a time. Did you imagine being outside of your home doing this?
Sure, that was the end goal regardless. In fact, when I first started, when it was home based, I started off trying to get a storefront or like a location. And the first place I went just to kind of talk was the Board of Health, and they talked me out of it.
Why?
Because it's simple. Most states have a cottage law. Mm-hmm. Louisiana has one, which is how you can operate as, I guess, like a home-based bakery out of the house. And they're like, why don't you just do this? There's no upfront cost. You don't have any stress with employees. Like, do this, see if it works. And I was like, that's really, I appreciate it. That was really good advice. But that was always the goal, to get a storefront up until I actually I let go of my 8 to 5. I used to splice fiber optic cables for the city. I was contracted under LUS Fiber, and I started it during that time that I was there. And I say started that I guess started the business while we were there. And let me see. Once we grew to the point where I let go of my 8 to 5 and I got home, it was March 2020. If you know about what that season was, that was COVID.
Yeah.
And that was the start. That was like the lockdowns are happening at this point, and the hysteria and everybody's going crazy. Once I got there, once I got to the house and realized I could handle all the bills. Man, do I really want the stress of a storefront or employees? Because that's usually the hard part. And we were out of the house for probably 3 years. And the biggest driver, like once we got the storefront, the biggest driver was our last baby. We couldn't handle that out of the house anymore. But honestly, so we kind of went back to what I guess the original vision was to have a storefront. And upon doing that, that's probably one of the best decisions we've made. It's been phenomenal. And I always move slow. I move very calculated. I can't take risks, not with 6 kids.
No, not at all.
No, and it's painstaking. It's a patience game with everything that we do, but it's usually the best game to play, just because of the risk factor. So, but saying that, over the course of those, it's been about 7 years now, I would have a conversation on the phone. It was always the same conversation, but it was over the course of like maybe a few months. I get a phone call. Hi, this is Seth. Hey, I'm looking for the Cheesecake Bakery. I'm in a neighborhood right now. It's the same conversation. Okay, hey, no, look, I'm sorry. We work from our home. If you're interested, I can have just a little variety box. Back when we were still in the house, we would do a bi-weekly variety box. Every 2 weeks we would switch the flavors and offer that. And it was really good. That helped us out a lot. That was very, very popular. But anything outside of that was a 3-day notice. We make everything to order for obviously our situation. And I could usually sell someone a variety box, but that conversation once every 2 or 3 months in the beginning, it got to the point where it was about 2 to 3, sometimes 4 times every week of, hey, I'm looking for the cheesecake place. Do y'all have anything right now? Okay, I don't have anything, but the demand was there. Like I was kind of reading the signs, and the demand was there for a. It was
literally knocking on your door.
Quite literally, literally. Yeah, it was cool, quite literally, but very slow steps. And I'm again fortunate now. We were shopping around in the market, and you actually helped out a lot, just with, I guess, getting the publicity out there. You had shared one of our posts about trying to find a storefront. We ended up finding one right around the corner from our house. So that the storefront that we have, it's literally walking distance from the house, which looking at it and going through the startup of the business, I don't think we would have been able to actually make it work had it not been like a block away. Yeah. Like it just so many extra things that you don't ever see coming, and it comes regardless. There was one night where it was November, maybe right mid-November, where we were starting to, like, this was going to be our first day. Like we had spent the weekend moving everything out of the house into the bakery, and we were going to start. It's like on a Monday now, and maybe 2-3 o'clock in the evening or in the afternoon, and we're starting to make batters, and about 5 o'clock comes around, and we're starting to turn the oven on. It goes on for about 10-15 seconds, then I hear click.
Oh no.
Yeah, oh no. Turn it off, turn it back on, 10-15 seconds, hear click.
You didn't give it the good hammer hit?
I gave it a lot. I gave it a lot. It was rough.
Oh man.
So we were in this really odd transition where we had moved everything over the weekend. I still was taking orders, so I had orders getting picked up on the Tuesday, which was the next day, and it's 5 o'clock in the evening. My oven's not turning on. Come to find out, the wire the wire that was there was too small of a gauge. I needed a heavier gauge. And it got resolved, but we were trying to like figure out what's wrong, calling a few people, this and that, and then once it dawned on us, okay, this isn't a quick fix. So by this time, it's probably 7-8 o'clock at night, and we're still making batters to get ready to go into the oven. We were going to start transporting them back to the house. Ashley had gone back to the house to put the kids to sleep and kind of get them fed, and maybe, I don't know, 9 o'clock, 9:30, she shows back up and pulls up. We have a Buick Enclave. Pulls up. I go to start loading the car to bring everything back, and go to turn the car over, and another click.
No.
Battery's dead, and I don't mean I need to jump. The battery is gone. Like, it was horrible.
Yeah.
Started raining.
Oh man, just one thing after another.
Dude, that was one of the worst days. Absolute worst days. So by the time everything's said and done with, the oven doesn't work. I have a sheet pan of cheesecake that's in its pans respectively, with another sheet pan on top that I'm carrying in the rain to go back to the house to put everything back in the oven to cook at the house. And it was horrible. So like that next morning, woke up, walked back to the bakery, took a couple of tools, pulled the battery out, walked to the AutoZone on Johnston with the battery in my hand, walked back, got it started. Since then, things were okay. We haven't had too many hiccups. It was horrible.
But that's that's life. Life comes at you at the least convenient time,
And spurts, too.
I hate it. And yeah, like it sometimes threes. It like comes in threes. Yeah. So it's interesting to see all the struggles that you have to go through with all your equipment failing, then in your car, and then having to get back up. Okay. So, and you mentioned I shared one of your posts. I don't know if I told you, but I got a lot of flack for sharing that post.
I saw that.
Yeah, I got a lot of, mostly from real estate agents.
Yes.
Real estate agents were like, why are you sharing his post, scouting locations? He needs a professional real estate agent to do the work for him. I'm like, okay, he's a new company, I perceive to be new, because you were coming out of your home into a commercial space, and for me, that was right up my alley. I'm like, you know what? This seems like a perfect opportunity to provide some sort of extra reach for this company, these people trying to find a space, because there's a lot of space in Lafayette. Why can't they find a space? Like I couldn't figure it out. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to share it. I'm not a real estate agent. I probably could make a good one, but I don't want to go down that road at the moment. But I was like, what's the harm in sharing it? And apparently, according to some agents, there was a lot of harm. And I think what that was is just the competitiveness of trying to get a space. I don't know, but yeah, I got a lot of flack for doing that.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that big of a deal in the slightest. One of them mentioned, like, I think the idea of what they were trying to say was the headache of people kind of bombarding you and not streamlining it through an agent that can kind of help. And that is very real. I understand that, but no, I was honored and grateful. It definitely helped.
And a lot of people in there didn't realize that you were even they didn't even realize you were a business. And so if they liked Cheesecake, it opened them up to
just
hearing
the
about
publicity alone was we were fortunate to have it. But even the building that we were in, it was just a word from a bird, really. Like it wasn't even like it didn't even come from that route. One of our really good clients just stopped by the house one day. Hey, how's the situation with the storefront? And I was like, man, I'm trying to find places, but like it's either like really rink-a-dink or it's just out of our budget.
Yeah.
Like I can't, I need something that is almost turnkey in the idea of like it was a restaurant previously to where a lot of the sinks are there or the grease trap. Like I don't necessarily have to do a tremendous amount of renovation. We still ended up spending a pretty good amount, but again, a drop in the bucket considering what it could have been.
Right.
But he's like, well, I heard the previous tenant, it was Bliss Nutrition. I heard Bliss Nutrition is actually looking to get out of the lease. And I was like, Bliss around the corner? And like, I was like, thank you, put my shoes on and drove over there. And sure enough, I'm looking to get out. I've been here for not quite a year and it's just not what I want it to be. If you want to take over, I'll definitely put you in touch with the landlord and it's been great.
That's perfect.
The rent is very affordable. It's literally walking distance from the house, which is astronomical. And the landlord is a very kind gentleman. He's a good guy. I'm appreciative for him as well.
That's awesome, man. And we could probably talk about the cheesecake side of your life for much longer than what we've talked about. And I know there's a lot of information that I would still like to cover. But we also have other stuff that you're involved in, and I want to talk about that before we have to close out. So just in case, if you want to learn more about the Cheesecake Bakery, their website, lacheesecakebakery.com. Go check it out. I'll pull up the website on my screen here in just a second to kind of show you, just in case you're not available to get onto a computer. So this is the homepage here. Basically, I'm at the menu area. This is the homepage. So big LA Cheesecake Bakery, got a nice cheesecake top-down view. And then you scroll on down, you can see the regular flavors, keto flavors, which includes sugar-free, gluten-free, low-carb. And then you got decorated cheesecakes, for the bougie people. And then you scroll down, you can look at some more photos. Like I said, mind you, you will get hungry. You can also learn a little bit more about the owners, Seth and his wife. And then, just scroll through the website, learn a little bit, order you a cheesecake, and you will be glad you did. All right. So now to talk about and also you brought cheesecake, which we didn't even cover that, but I'm looking forward to that in a little bit. So your next field of work is Alpha Adventures. So it sounds like you've been inside of or been involved with Alpha Adventures sports for longer than the Cheesecake Bakery. Is that true, or is
it's fairly new. Alpha Adventure. We've been doing this for a little over a year now, and it's been super fun. I come from a paintball background. I used to play paintball back in the day.
Yeah.
And this is where I heard of the concept of jelly ball. So,
or like Gel Soft?
Gel Soft, all of it, Gel Soft, Gel Blaster,
all the
Gel
same
Strike.
stuff.
It's the same stuff, but it's all been piggybacked off of Jelly Ball.
Okay.
So Jelly Ball, the gentleman who kind of came up with the idea, his name is Clay Wedger, nice gentleman out of Texas. He thought, let me put essentially Orbeez in a Nerf gun with batteries and shoot them out of there. and it's brilliant. It really is something that you don't have the aggravation of Nerf where you shoot about 6 shots and you kind of scrounge for bullets after that. And there's nothing wrong with it. I grew up playing Nerf. It's still fun. The kids still have Nerf guns. And it's not as specialized as paintball where you need genuine specialized equipment, protective equipment, and the actual gun and hopper and paint to shoot. And it doesn't hurt near as much. I have actual scars on my back from paintball. I used to play competitively. Jelly Ball is a really good in between. It's got about 700 shots in the hopper, which is here. I brought a little gun for demo, but it's got about 700 shots, and it shoots 15 per second. Shoots about 190, 200 feet per second. Accurate for maybe 100 feet, give or take. But the whole concept of Jelly Ball is, and Clay with the company that he has, he simply provides a business owner, entrepreneur, the equipment to get started with their own business. So I essentially just bought a package from Jelly Ball and got started. So I have a few inflatable bunkers. I've got a few guns and masks and a ton of balls. Where we will go, we're mobile, so you hire me for your 8-year-old's birthday party. They bring a few friends. We'll go and set up the bunkers and let you play for however long you hire us for. And it's the coolest thing. The parents enjoy it probably just as much as the kids do. The kids will play for an hour or so, and then the parents kind of like just start kind of moseying in and like, hey, so what's this about? or like the kicker is one of the kids grabs a gun and then goes and like shoots the parents or something like that. They're like, no, give me that gun now. And they go get on the field and they start playing with the kids. It's really fun. And you're not sitting behind a screen all day. You're outside, you're moving around. It's a really good thing. But we've been doing this for a little over a year now, and it's been really rewarding.
Yeah, so this is cool. Like you mentioned, it's Jelly Ball, so it's little gel pellets. I know a lot of people are familiar with paintball, which in theory you would think shouldn't hurt, but whenever a paintball is flying at you at a high rate of speed, it does leave a little bruise. And then there's also airsoft, which I don't know why they call it soft. I guess it's just because it doesn't puncture the skin.
Perhaps.
But airsoft is little plastic balls, and you have to wear protective gear for that, especially for your face. I don't think anything for your face, even with Jelly Soft or Gel. Jelly Ball. It's Jelly Soft. But like I've seen people airsoft and like snipe people from a certain perspective, and like and it pegs them pretty good.
Yeah. So these guns are capped at about 190, 200 feet per second. Your typical paintball gun is capped at about 290, 300 feet per second. airsoft guns, depending on what you're using, can get well up there, double that easy. And it's this little plastic BB, man. It hits, and dude, you know it when it hits.
Yeah, I mean, so I played a Gelsoft course earlier this year from a company, Acadiana Gelsoft in Broussard. They invited us to invite a few people. He was like, bring your office. I'm like, I don't have an office. So I invited several people off of Facebook that wanted to join. And so it was about maybe 6 or 7 of us, including the owner. We went to go play, and it was the coolest thing.
It is.
There was no pain. You still felt yourself getting hit by these little balls. Like, you can feel the impact, but it wasn't an impact that hurt. You just knew, okay, you got hit. And then you would go back to your base and, restart, go back into the field. And what I loved about it is that I felt like I can be aggressive in my strategy of trying to, like, get the other team marked. I don't know if that's what you call them, marked, tagged, whatever. Without fearing that I'm going to hurt them. Because with paintball, like, if you hit them in the face, even with a mask, sometimes it can hurt.
Yep.
And I've gotten bruises. I've given bruises. And while I think paintball is great, Gelsoft Jelly Ball is an alternative that I feel like is an amazing thing. And you don't need CO2. You don't need any kind of
It's just
air.
batteries.
It's crazy that it's mechanical.
Yeah, it's just batteries.
So you said you're mobile.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more as far as, like, the procedure of what people would expect. Like, do they have to call you, go to your website? Like, what's the expectation of somebody booking a Jelly Ball party?
So I don't do a tremendous amount of advertising, and we still stay pretty busy for the most part. But just in light of the bakery, I kind of take it as it comes. That being said, a lot of what we do is word of mouth, and we stay steady with that. So, like, I will be at a party already, and one of the other parents, hey, my son's party is like next month. Could we do this? And we'll start talking. But I guess an organic, just someone that would walk up or hear about us. Definitely take a look at the website. It should answer most of the questions. If you have any other ones, send us a message on Facebook or give me a call directly. I typically have my phone on me, and we can answer everything. We book through the website, and you can pick your package. We have at the moment we have 3 different packages. In the future, I want to start offering a deluxe package where we can. I can give you one of our shirts. I have some pretty custom shirts made that are kind of like your dry fit style. It's pricey, but they're cool shirts. Bright yellow, kind of have a Mardi Gras theme to it almost. But I want to incorporate, like, if you want to get a deluxe package, we can give you a shirt and incorporate the cheesecake as well into it. But we're not there yet. But if you were just to call in, I would always direct you back to the website just to book. But you can book your party. It's up to 12 players that can play for that particular price. We can do more and handle more, and kind of tailor the party to what you want. But the website kind of has the pre-made packages. So we've done parties before where we've gone to, like, the middle schools to do, like, an end of the year party with the 7th and 8th graders, and we'll set up and we'll just rotate the kids in. But that's kind of the idea. It's just go through the website. You can book there. If you have any questions, feel free to call. But it's pretty simple. As far as expectations of what we bring or what you need to have, we just need a little area to set up in. That's all that you need to provide. We show up with everything. If your party is booked for 1:00 in the afternoon, we show up at 12:30. We get everything set up. We have it down to a T where it pretty much takes us right at a half an hour to set up. And we're playing from 1 until either 2:00, 2:30, or 3:00, however long you hired us for.
Yeah.
And then it takes about 30 minutes to break down. There's almost no mess in reality. That you're going to see the balls there. But once they hit the grass, they just kind of burrow in between the grass and the dirt, and you pass the mower over, you'll never see it again.
Yeah, they disintegrate at a certain point. While you were talking, I was showing the website, but for those that are listening via audio only, their website is pulling up again. It's alphaadventuresports.com. You can just type in Alpha Adventure Sports on Google. It'll lead you straight there. I'm positive. As I was scrolling, I came along to the packages. Mm-hmm. And so for those that are listening, if you are interested in a jelly ball party for whether it be your kids or for yourselves or for your job, your business, I'm pretty sure that would be a fun team exercise. The packages range from $300 all up to $400, and they include up to 12 players. And then you can get up to 2 hours of gameplay, minimum 1 hour, and it comes with all the gear and the setup and tear down part of the. So it's really, really nice. And if you're splitting it between players, they're only about $30. No, wait, each additional player is $30. See, yeah. I was gonna say it's $30 a person. No, you split up however you want. But yeah, so if you have more than 12 players, you can do that, right?
Definitely.
Okay, because it says up to, but that's for the price.
Yes, that's for that particular price. If you needed to add more players, it's $30 per player. But again, in that same breath, if I go I have a few like reoccurring clients. They'll call us they have a couple of kids, or we had a Halloween party once where this was really cool. I had already gone in maybe 2 parties previously for these same people. And hey, I need another booking for a Halloween party. Can you come out on Saturday? Yeah, absolutely. She's like, we're gonna have probably about 30 or 40 kids there. I was like, that's fine. Look, if you want to book a 2-hour party, we'll keep it at the same price, and we'll just rotate the kids, and we'll put them in groups of if there's 24 kids, we'll make 4 groups of 6, and we'll kind of go that route with it to where it's still affordable. I grew up all of my adult life, I've been pretty broke for the most part, and whatever that may be. So I try to I get it. I don't ever want to gouge anybody. I'm understanding. So instead of charging per kid after that, you're gonna spend an arm and a leg. Look, we'll do a 2-hour party, and we'll only have 12 players at a time, and we'll just rotate them in, and we'll go from there. And that's a lot of my parties, honestly. Other than that, it's usually maybe 8 to 10 kids, and they show up and they're just happy to play or get to shoot mom and dad or something like that.
Nice.
But usually the biggest thing that I hear, it's usually from mom. She'll come out, and at the end of it, I try to always go and say thank you for hiring us and be polite. And she's like, listen, this was great. I didn't have to do a thing. And I was like, good. That's what we want. That's what you hired us for. She's like, no, but really, I didn't have to do a thing. And it's it's in the comfort of your home. She went and grabbed a couple of bag of chips and a couple of 2 liters of soda. Kids were happy, or they ordered pizza, and they're playing. And, but it's good. It's still rewarding. People are always happy to see me, and I love that. With the cheesecakes, people are typically happy to walk in and give you their money, which is a beautiful thing. It's not like you're going to the doctor and you don't want to have to pay for this.
Oh, I know.
They're usually excited, and same thing with the jelly ball. The kids, I swear, the kids' faces light up. It's fun. Even the parents too. I'm telling you, I didn't have to do a thing. It was so great, and I was like, well, good. I'm glad.
So we're cutting it close, but you're also a state operator for Gelleo, and you said it's in the same line of what Jelly Ball is, but a little bit different, more of an official business. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. So Gelleo is at launch stage as we speak. It's been in the works for about 2 years now, and it's by the same company. It's Jelly Ball and Gelleo. The same gentleman who came up with Jelly Ball is the same person who came up with the concept of Gelleo, and they're using essentially sophisticated Jelly Ball equipment to train security, law enforcement personnel, military, whatever the situation may be, to train the security at the location. So let's take, for instance, let's just say Lafayette High wants to invest a little bit more into their police presence that's there, and they want to give them training. So they will oftentimes send them off to camp such and such to do training over the weekend, or they'll go to some kill box somewhere, and they'll have like almost like a paintball / airsoft setup where they can go and train for active shooter situations or things of that nature. In this instance, we provide the equipment to where you can train at the location. You can train, like if you wanted to, you can train at Lafayette High with no repercussions. We don't use simunition. We use actual jelly balls, which are again, they're a little more sophisticated. The equipment itself is more sophisticated, but we can train you inside the location without damaging anything. So it's not like a simunition round where it hurts pretty bad and it may not be quite as accurate. And if you shoot a laptop with it or a projector or something of that nature, you're going to have to buy another one. It's still a jelly ball. So it's accurate for about 100 feet, which you're not typically shooting a pistol that far away from a person. And we have ARs and things of that nature to simulate those things to where we can get good training on location. And that's kind of what you want. So like, and right across the street here, Cajun Dome, things of that nature. Like if there were, heaven forbid, a situation were to break out, you would have that extra level of training. And we can get it to the point where we're not just, if you want a base package, we can just put the equipment in your hands and you handle it from there. And you keep it for the weekend or however long you need it to train. Or we can get to the point where we're bringing in simulations of sound, visual, and so on. And I don't want to get too deep into it, but we can bring like fake cadavers in to where, you kick open the door and you go in to save the day and you trip over a cadaver. So I don't want to get too gruesome because we're obviously talking about cheesecake and jelly ball, but that is the next part of my life there is that I'm stepping into, is being able to do this with security teams, law enforcement personnel, military, or whatever it may be, even church security, things of that nature, where they had a company out of Florida. They were just a couple of months ago in the process of getting that launch up and ready to go. And just randomly about 2 or 3 weeks before, they had a church out of Florida call, like, hey, I see you do this jelly ball stuff. Do y'all do stuff like this for like law enforcement? And they're like, yeah, we do. Like, isn't that crazy? But it's really cool. When I heard it, my heart kind of leapt for it because I feel like it's a noble concept. Like, it's honorable. You're training to protect the people that may not be able to protect themselves in horrible situations that you never want to have to even think about.
In like completely non-lethal ways of training.
Definitely.
Obviously, you want training to be non-lethal, but also
definitely.
not to damage anything.
Definitely, yeah. And you want to be able to simulate to the best of your ability what you're going to go through, because a lot of times, man, it's scary to even think of how you can freeze up in situations. And I've seen footage of, and it's horrible to say, just officers freezing up in a situation where, like, he's got 15 shots in his clip, and he's pulled the trigger 30 times because the adrenaline hit, and it kind of just lost thought. Mm-hmm. And it's just sad to see situations where the emotions of a real situation hit and you weren't prepared for it.
Oh yeah, it's nobody is prepared for that, really.
Right, in reality.
I mean, you can train for it, but when it comes down to it, like the adrenaline and the amount of thoughts and emotion that go into the scenario, I couldn't imagine being on any part of that. Like, when I was younger, I was like, oh yeah, one day I'll be a cop. No, not gonna happen. I couldn't imagine that. Even today, it's even worse. But yeah, so it's definitely a neat concept that you guys are doing with Jelly Ball and training, law enforcement and security detail and all that kind of stuff with it.
Very cool concept. Man.
Well, this has been great. There's a lot here, and I feel like we didn't cover enough. But you did bring a gun. You did show it, and I had you on that. And then, of course, the cheesecake. I can't wait, and I appreciate bringing it. I would say I would show the camera the cheesecake. I don't know if that would make sense, but maybe. So is that one of them right there?
Yeah. Well, look, I tell you what, I'll torch it real quick for you.
Yeah. Let me get that camera. We're gonna torch a cheesecake here. Just give me a second.
This is a creme brulee cheesecake.
All right, we're gonna take this camera off.
And I'm gonna hold it.
Okay.
I have a strong torch.
You're gonna hold it. Okay,
I'll
got
hold
it.
Yeah, just in case. So, creme brulee is a pretty exquisite dessert. You usually see it at nicer restaurants. Everybody has that kind of like cultic feel of like right when you torch it, you have to crack it with a spoon before you eat it. So our creme brulee cheesecakes, as good as they are, they're usually better eaten immediately.
Yeah.
You can smell it. That's one of my favorite smells in the kitchen.
Oh yeah, that smells amazing. It smells like marshmallow kind of.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Cool, man. This is fun. I've never seen that process. I mean, maybe on like Hell's Kitchen or something.
Right. Yeah.
That is amazing. Well, cool. Yeah. So I appreciate you coming in and talking about your company. I know, like I said, we could talk about both sections, both of your companies a lot longer than what we did. But I'll continue to follow your company, and if there's something that I can share with our following that's pertaining to your company, if you happen to do an expansion, let's just say that happens.
Okay. Well, actually, you know what?
Oh boy,
I will save this for next time. But we're starting to offer coffee now. We just invested in an espresso machine at the bakery, which is something that we wanted to do for a while. But I have something else that's a pretty interesting concept with the cheesecakes coming down the pipes, and you will probably be the first to know. So we'll say you heard it here first.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, looking forward to that. All right. Well, Seth, it was great to have you on, and I do appreciate your time. And for those that are listening or watching, rather, if you want to listen to the audio version, we do have our audio formats on the Apple Podcast, the Spotify podcast. We have Google Podcasts. We have all the places that you listen to the audio versions of the podcast. So also YouTube has their own audio version of the podcast too, which if you download the YouTube Music app or just YouTube's app, you can just say, play the T podcast on YouTube Music with Siri or whatever have you. It's really cool. So we'll have this episode up this week, and and you can share it, whatever have you. But again, Seth, thank you for coming in and talking about your companies with us.
Thank you for having me. It's fun.
Well, cool. Well, again, if you want to go check out his companies, it is lacheesecakebakery.com and also alphaadventuresports.com. The links are in the caption of the video. And with that, we will see you on the next one. All right, Seth, have a good one.
Thank you.